Mike, can you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a moment of silence for the men and women in the armed forces, our first responders, and those brave men and women fighting the fight in Ukraine. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Katie. I knew it.
Everybody signed up for this?
Yeah.
Okay, this is gross vehicle weight one, 620.
Yep.
Are there different,
No, you were Katie. I know, well.
no, you could,
That's kind of what I figured.
Okay.
nobody?
But I don't know where you live.
Okay. So this is a legal notice, Town of Milford, May 23rd, 2022. Please take notice that pursuant to sections 405 and 406 of the Town Charter, Milford Town Council held a public hearing, hear public comment relating to the following proposed ordinance. New Chapter 20B, gross vehicle weight limitations. It is proposed that the ordinance be added to the New Milford Code of Ordinances as authorized by said Charter sections 405 and 406 and Chapter 98 of the General Statutes. Said public hearing to be held in the E. Paul Martin Room, the Milford Town Hall, 10 Main Street at 6:20 p.m. on May 23, 2022. A copy of the proposed ordinance is on file at the town's clerk office and available for examination. Examination dated this 19th day of May 2022. And Sally said there is no one for public participation. Jack, could I call upon you to just give a brief overview? And this will be Jack Healy, our Public Works Director. Jack?
You've been a regular at the town council meetings.
Excuse me?
You're the regular at the town council meetings, aren't you?
I'm not trying to be. Anyway, what this is for three roads: Barker Road, Chernesky Road, and Preston Hill Road. And what it does is establishes a weight limitation for those three roads of approximately 32,000 pounds. 32,000 pounds. I have notified the Washington First Selectman. I contacted Kent, First Selectman's office. They referred me to the Public Works Director. I talked with him about this. The idea is that these roads would then have a limitation for truck traffic only going through. If there's a truck that needs to go into that area above that weight limit, to deliver locally, they are entitled to do so. There will be signs installed at the entrances to each of those roads with a placard underneath indicating that local deliveries will be allowed.
Thank you, Jack. Any comment from the Town Council? Any comment from the public? I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Our next one is at 6:30, and that will be the one with the ARPA funding request. We all could rise for the pledge. Sal, can you lead us in the pledge, sir? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I have a moment of silence for the men and women in the armed forces, our first responders, and those brave men and women fighting the fight in the Ukraine. Thank you. Noreen?
Okay, do I have any nominations for a moderator?
Mayor Bass?
Okay, any seconds?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Opposed? Okay,
Thank you, Noreen. Warning for this notice of a special town meeting, May 23rd, 2022. Those qualified to vote in town meetings in the town of New Milford are hereby warned and notified to meet in the New Milford Town Hall, 10 Main Street, New Milford, Connecticut, on May 23rd, 2022, at 6:30 p.m. in the E. Paul Martin Room for the following purpose to wit: to consider and act upon the following question: shall the town of New Milford expend COVID Relief American Rescue Plan Act funds received from the United States Treasuries as follows: sober house support, $33,000; HVA river programs, $3,034; library, the adjustment for makerspace, $59,774; and Gaylordsville Fire Department, 15 sets of turnout gear for the firemen, $75,755. Do we have anybody, Sal, for public participation?
No public participation, Mayor.
Okay. Council, do we have any comments from the town council? Okay. All right. I'd like to make a motion. I would like to say all those in favor of the request of the American Relief Funds, the sober house support, HVA river programs, library adjustment, makerspace, Gaylordsville Fire Department turnout gear, please by signifying by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I'd like to thank you. I'd like to someone make a motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you coming out tonight. Thank you.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Thanks, Mike. Thank you. please. Tom, can you lead us in pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a moment of silence for the men and women in the armed forces, our first responders, and our brave men and women fighting the fight in the Ukraine. Thank you. Sal, anybody for public participation?
Yes, Mayor, Mr. Michael Sanello. Mr. Michael Sanello.
Going once. Going twice.
Clock starts now.
Sanello Michael.
Okay, Mike Stinello, 111 Willow Springs. So I have copies of the presentation that you guys are going to see tonight. For anyone who is watching at home, you can go to the link that is on display right now. Tried to make this as condensed as possible so you guys can see the actual link and get to it, and I'll leave that up there for just a second before we dive into this. So, before I get started, just a little background on what this is. This is simply a follow-up to the same report that I produced in 2018. It's updated to include the referenda that have taken place since then, and I've added some graphics to make all of this information a lot more digestible. So before I get started, too, there was no referendum in 2020. That's why there's no data on that point. The reference question format was changed in 2019, so I haven't included that data in that, and also I just simply didn't have time to import that in. And some quick background on just where all of this information comes from. Everything I collected here is over the course of 23 referenda, or about 19 years worth of budget referenda. Prior to 2014, there's not as much electronic record keeping, so it gets kind of difficult to concatenate all that data. And prior to 2004, it gets completely impossible. It's all handwritten Post-it notes that are all over the place. And even the town clerk's office has a heck of a time finding where this information would be. In fact, in 2004, 5, and 6, I kind of had to make some judgment calls when it came to things like the number of qualified electors in order to determine the turnout rates, because it's really inconsistent with where that all comes from. Sometimes I had to compare what the town clerk had to the state because there was either no information or it was obviously off by, when it reports 10,000, it's obviously way off. So the reason they stopped at 2004 isn't arbitrary. It's because before 2004, you're going to have to hire a consultant to figure all of this out. And you're probably going to have to reach out to George Buckby and see what he remembers off memory from all of this stuff, because it's that difficult to organize. So let me get rid of this link and we can dive into the presentation here. Just so folks know, again, I'm trying to just present the raw data because this is something that's come up in almost every year. What is the turnout rates? How many people voted in favor of one thing or the other? So I'm just trying to give the raw information here. On page 1 that the town councilmen have, you'll notice that I've printed out page 1 a little bit differently from what people are seeing at home and what's on the screen here. That's just simply because it's impossible to print this out and have it be legible in any other format than what I've done. The data's all the same. You'll notice that before I get into the visuals to make it easier to follow along, I've bold-faced all the places where either the municipal or Board of Education budget has failed. The Board of Education budget over this period failed in 5 referenda, in municipal none. And before we get into the visuals again, I think the first thing that should be seen right away is in 2022, our turnout rate was 9.27%, which is low, and I'll get into specifically what that means. In 2021, we had the lowest turnout by far of that time period at 6.71%. As far as that 9.27% is concerned, if we scroll down, we can see I've kind of extrapolated some more data from this. When I initially presented this report, there was a clear change in trend in 2011 going into 2018. That's why I've kind of separated some of that data to bring out where that is. I think moving forward, I'm going to have to get rid of that because it seems that trend has either flipped or wasn't a permanent trend. So that's why I've done that. The standard deviation is the standard deviation. The last thing I'm going to actually point out before we get into the visuals here is the voter turnout performance. That's based on the Z-score. And before I put anyone to sleep with math, what that means, what that translates to, is that since 2011, this year's voter turnout would project to be better than 19% of referenda. So not very high, to say the least. All right. So that should give you an idea of where the history of everything and why I've put this all together. And yes, there were some judgment calls as you get much older in terms of the number of voters that are eligible to vote, which we'll get into in just a second. All right. So on the second tab, if you guys are following at home, I recommend downloading it because Google is having a tough time displaying this page. So at home, I would download it, open it up in an Excel. This is the actual turnouts by referendum. That dotted line that you're seeing, I had to hand draw that in, so it's not perfect. So it's really close to 16.03%. That's the mean. You can see towards the end there, these past two referenda have been pretty far below that mean. You can also see that in 2018, we had quite a spike in turnout, and you can see the trend that I was talking about. Prior to 2011, there just simply are consistently higher turnouts than we had from 2011 into the 2018 budget referendum cycle. As I scroll down, so total qualified voters, this was the part where it started to get tough to discern exactly what the right number was as you go further back. And again, prior to 2004, there were 3 budget referendas in 2003, and the raw data is in these like multi-thousand-page Bibles in the town clerk's dungeon. And they're not in any real order, and it's all handwritten notes, so it's tough to tell even which result referred to which referenda in 2003. But I wanted to point out that the number of voters has actually changed in each referendum, and you can see recently, since 2019, there's been a bit of a spike in the number of qualified voters. Why do I use the phrase qualified voters? That is because they are not qualified electors. So in the case of an elector, you have to be a resident of New Milford, of the town of New Milford, in the case of, and there's some citizenship requirements additional to that. And in the case of just a simple qualified voter for a referendum, you do not have to reside. Now, the reason we don't go by the total tax receipts is because there are businesses involved in all of that, and there are tax receipts that are, for separate tax receipts for vehicles only when people live in this town. So it gets kind of confusing, and that's why in many cases the town clerk's office just simply went with the total number of qualified electors because it's just too confusing to figure out exactly what that number would be otherwise.
Mike, you need to start wrapping up.
Okay. Roughly 10 to 20 per year qualified voters that are not residents. Quick note on margins. You'll see towards the end that there's been a wide change in the margins since 2018. Both budgets have passed by a significantly larger margin. Happy to field questions for those who want to reach out to me after the meeting. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike.
If you guys could just give me 1 second to get everything taken care of back there.
So do we have anyone else for public participation?
No one else is from the public?
Thank you. Okay, Katie?
I'd like to suspend the rules to add the following. Item 7A, which is a date change for the fireworks. I'd also like to add item 10C, which is to set a public hearing date. And I'd like to move item 7A up to come before item 5.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Katie?
All right, I'd like to move item number 3, motion to accept the consent agenda, items 3A, prior minutes, B, tax collector report, and C, New Milford Police Department. And the police department is requesting permission to accept the following donations: $50 from Betty Lou Emmons, who attended the Citizens Police Academy class, to be used for the K-9 program. $200 from the VFW Post 1672 to be used for community outreach program, and $200 in the form of 2 Big Y gift cards to be used towards the Community Policing Day in June.
We have a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. We have abstentions?
Item number 4, motion to approve the following appointments and reappointments. These are appointments. This is to the Arts Commission, appointing Robert Capola for the period of May 23rd, 2022 through January 31st, 2026. Municipal agent, well, let's do Bob first. I'd like to, can we just separate these?
Yep.
All right.
So we have a motion on the
Yeah.
floor for the Arts Commission. We have a second from Councilman Cosgrove. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
I'm sorry, Pete, was anybody on the, we didn't ask the, was anybody on the phone?
Is there anybody on the phone?
No.
Okay, and I'd also like to move to approve the appointment of a municipal agent. This is the term of May 23rd, 2022 through May 22nd of 2026, and her name is Marissa Levine. If you're here,
Marissa?
Marissa, would you like to say a few words?
Can you come up, Marissa? And we also have Jasmine that's here.
Is there a second
Jasmine?
first?
Second.
Marissa Levine, I'm the new municipal agent at the senior center. I've been there for about 2 weeks now, and I'm very excited to be part of the community and the team.
Jasmine, can you give a little bit of brief history for, you have 2 municipal agents at the
Yes.
senior center, just for the council, kind of give them an edification. I know you spoke a little bit about it at our budget hearings, but just kind of a refresher.
Absolutely. Well, good evening, everyone, Town Council and Honorable Mayor and the community. Do you-
I'm wondering if you should move to the mic.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. So it is with great honor and pleasure that we welcome Marissa Levine to our New Milford Senior Center team. As Marissa had mentioned, she just joined our center about 2 weeks ago now. She will be working in tandem with Amanda Caldwell, our other Senior Service Advisor Municipal Agent. So this position is a very unique position to the town of New Milford, and we are very lucky that we in fact have 2 municipal agents who serve our New Milford senior community. They act as the navigators, as the guides, if you will, and as the advocates for our senior community as they navigate really through the business side of aging, if you will. So that's your Medicare, that's your housing, your long-term care options. We have these 2 municipal agents who serve our senior community, in which there are over 7,000 60-plus-year-olds that are in New Milford. So these services are available for New Milford residents as well as their families. For any questions of that nature, both Marissa and Amanda are available through phone call, through email, and virtually or in-office appointments to be able to answer any of those questions. So please feel free to reach out, and we're happy to welcome Marissa to our team. Thank you all.
Excellent.
Welcome, Marissa.
Welcome,
Thank you.
Marissa. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great team.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
evening, everyone.
Moving on with item 4, appointments, appointing to, motion to accept the following. Howard I. Russock, appointed to the Conservation Commission, term from May 23rd, 2022 through January 31st, 2026. The following reappointments: Library Board of Trustees, Rosemary Kelly, for a term of February 1st, 2022 through May 22nd, 2026, and Michael Byrd to the Conservation Commission, term of December 1st, 2021 to January 31st, 2026.
Second.
And we have a second from Councilman Esposito. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Now I'd like to insert the former item 7A, which we've moved up to item 5, and that would be to approve the change of the date for the fireworks, which would be moved from, was formerly, it is now, July 1st rather than July 2nd, with a rain date of July 9th, 2022. And that
And-
would require the closing of Bank Street from 2 to 10, and other roads for the duration of the fireworks shoot.
Second.
Thank you. And just for the councils, and we have Denise here. Thank you, Denise, for working with the fireworks company. The reason for the change is a couple items, and Denise, correct me if I'm wrong. First is, July 2nd, they didn't have somebody that's qualified in the state of Connecticut licensed
Oh, my.
to shoot off the fireworks because of manpower shortages. And on top of that, there's a specially required truck supposed to take the fireworks from where they're done to the area where they're going to fire them off, and those are in a shortage too. So combining the two, the next date we could get, am I correct, Denise, was July 2nd or July 9th or 8th? So in speaking with Denise, we felt that July 2nd, being before 4th of July, would be a much better, July 1st, sorry, than July.
Friday night's a good way to kick off the
Exactly.
weekend.
Yep.
Hopefully the truck doesn't use diesel to get it
So,
over there.
oof.
That's fireworks.
Yeah, the fireworks, they go from 30 minutes to 20 minutes.
All righty.
So we have a motion and a second. Any questions for Denise? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you again, Denise, for all your
Thanks.
work on this.
Bang up job.
Thank you.
I heard what you said. So there. Okay. So moving on down to item number 5, we will have a report from the New Milford Student Advisory Board Leadership Representative, Kathy. And do we have Mr. Waters with us again? Yes. Welcome back.
Hello. I'm Baker Waters, but you already knew that, hopefully. What I'm about to talk about is something that's I'm very passionate about because I have my own personal experience with it. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and today I'm here to talk about mental illness occurring in the lives of the youth. According to the CDC's Adolescent Behaviors and Experiences Survey, throughout the 2 years of adjusting to COVID-19, students at public and private schools have reported that their mental health was not good either most of the time or all the time during the pandemic. And then some statistics is recent studies indicate that approximately 1 in 5 teens between ages of 12 and 18 suffer from at least one diagnosable mental health disorder. An estimated 32% of adolescents had any anxiety disorder. Between 20% and 30% of adolescents report symptoms of depression. While depression was once considered an adult affliction, the mean age of onset today is 15. Suicide is a serious public health problem among all age groups. In 2018, suicide was the second leading cause of death among ages 10 to 24, and 4 more adolescents have suicidal thoughts or attempt suicide and survive than those who die by suicide. Results from the 2019 Youth Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance System show that 18.8% of high school students seriously considered attempting suicide and 8.9% actually attempted suicide. Anxiety disorders are the highest reported mental health issue in the U.S., with 42.5 million Americans claiming to suffer from the illness. Mental health crises account for 60 million visits to primary care and 6 million ER visits annually, and 41% of Americans deal with an untreated mental illness. The Youth Agency has no-cost counseling services for middle school and high school students. The Youth Agency's video crew and I just filmed a PSA to promote mental health awareness, and yeah. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathy.
Can I have his
And-
Okay.
And,
Oh,
She'll put your comments right in the minutes if you give her your comments.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, sorry.
and,
Is there
I don't-
anything you guys are doing to help kids in this situation? I mean, we know the problem. What is
Yes.
direction that you're
So-
doing?
Well, like Baker just mentioned, we do have the no-cost counseling services at the youth agency. We also, we try to work with the schools to find out what's going on. We just had a woman come to our student advisory board to talk about vaping and the effects that it has on their mental health. So we try to work together with the schools as well as talk to our student advisory board to see what's going on. And we plan programs and workshops based on their information that they provide us.
And then the no cost treatment you have, is there a huge line to get into that, or is it?
No, you can just call, you can talk to our director, we have a social worker there as well. There's a process, like an intake process, and if all the needs are met, then we schedule appointments and things like that. If not, if we can't handle it, we refer you to our service that can.
Mike,
Kathy, aren't there
here's the
two
good
now?
news.
I'm sorry?
Counselors, are there 2 counselors now?
There's the one
Social worker?
full-time,
Oh,
Sarah
right.
Wendrow,
Okay.
and then there's a supervisor that
Oh.
comes in.
I just
When we
thought-
were doing our work with the school, especially during COVID, when there was the hybrid model, and we were seeing that there would be this issue of mental health, depression, isolation, we set it up with Jason starting this. And the good news is we've already had, I believe it's 3 now, that have actually been outtaken out. They've already got the help and moved on. So that's 3 success stories we can already talk about, and more's to come. So kudos to everybody. And I just want to say real quick to you, I'm very proud of you for coming up and talking about a very important issue.
Thank you.
And I can't thank you enough for that.
Thank you, Baker. Good job.
Chris?
Baker, were you one of the, I listened to a podcast recently from the youth agency with a local author, Valerie Walsh. Were you one of the interviewers on that?
No.
Okay, well, but it was, the topic was mental health, and Valerie's, she wrote her memoir,
Right.
and about her mother who died of suicide, and with the mayor, I'm proud of you for bringing this up. It's something that's affected my family, and, you know, it used to be something you swept under the rug, and we got to stop doing that. So bringing it up, it's really important, and it's really important for you to discuss it with your peers as well. So, great job, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, mayor's comments.
Okay. First, I'd like to start with a proclamation. And Jack, this will be to your team. Last week was National Public Works Week, but we didn't have town council meeting, so the topic for this year's Public Works Week was Ready and Resilient. Whereas the Public Works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, emergency management, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and the public health, high quality of life, and well-being for the people of New Milford, Connecticut. And whereas these infrastructures, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of Public Works professionals, who are federally mandated first responders, and the engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children of New Milford, Connecticut to gain knowledge and maintain ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works, first responders, and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2022 marks the 62nd annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association and the Canadian Public Works Association, be it now resolved, I, Pete Bass, Mayor of the town of New Milford, do hereby designate the week, May 15th through the 21st, 2022, as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designated to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contribution they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. Jack, could you please tell the men and women down at the DPW that we can't thank them enough for all their efforts they do each and every day?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Next, we talk about this each and every meeting, and that is our COVID numbers. And again, just to reiterate, I do have people that do ask that we continue to do these numbers, as some of their family members or themselves are immune compromised, and they like to know the numbers so they can make decisions for themselves. The state of Connecticut, and these are numbers in totality, not how many people currently have COVID-19. The state of Connecticut is at 801,078. Litchfield County is at 29,642, which is up 101 from Friday. Hospitalizations for the entire county of Litchfield is at 4, which is down 3 from Friday. New Milford is at 5,142, which is up 8 from Friday. our vaccination statistics as of May 19th, 2022, with a 7 to 10 day look back. First doses are at 22,725, which is 84.78% of the population, and fully vaccinated is at 20,918, which is 78.04%. I'd like to thank all of the men and women from our community that came out and voted for this year's municipal budget. First time around, both the town and the Board of Education budget passed. So we cannot thank you enough for those that came out that voted. And now we can continue on with the business of the town and of the board side. Also want to remind people that we will be having our Memorial Day celebrations in New Milford. We have two. So at 8 a.m. we have the first one, which is the Gaylordsville Fairgrounds. And that is a parade that goes up to the fire department. And they have, I believe, Chief Bergman will be there. And we do a ceremony there. It's awesome. And we have, I believe the Scotticoke Band is up there too that plays, so that's wonderful. So if you do have a chance, you can go. 8 o'clock is when we start the proceedings there. Then at 10 o'clock on Memorial Day here on the town green, starting at the library, we have our town Memorial Day parade as well. And according to Commander Delancey from the VFW, we have looks like a wide variety of attendees, paradees
In the parade, yeah.
in the parade. We're also
Right.
having a flyover by the Air Force and a flyover from the New Milford Police Department.
And the marching band. from,
Marching bands, all
Sarah
sorts
Noble.
of, you got marching bands, high school,
Hey, my cousin
Scotticoke,
asked, because he has, where do they meet?
right at the library.
At the library?
Yep. And this year, what you call him, Marshal, I guess for a better
Yes,
word.
Grand Marshal.
Grand Marshal is going to be a World War II veteran
Oh, my
that's
God.
going to be there,
Awesome.
so it's absolutely.
99 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
So,
got- by pure math, he's got to be up there.
so amazing. Next is Mike. Like to congratulate your daughter again. Seems to be doing some outstanding stuff up
Yeah.
at UConn. She won the gold, setting the Big East and UConn record for the 3,000 meter steeplechase. Amazing.
He's running well.
Absolutely. Also want to congratulate the New Milford 10U Chaos softball team. They won the Wolf's Den Classic tournament, and they also went 5-1 and took first place in the USA B level tournament. So great job by the New Milford Chaos softball teams, which are housed within the New Milford Youth Baseball Softball. Also, speaking of baseball, the New Milford's 10U baseball team, they beat Harrison, New York, 15-3, and then they went and beat Yorktown, New York, 10-9, and they're moving on to the semifinals. So congratulations and good luck to them.
Pete, before you leave sports, New Milford's hosting the SWC Conference Championship tomorrow at the high school at 3. You want to see some great athletes. The boys have a good
SWC
conference. Yeah, the whole conference is, and whatever else the Southwest
what?
Conference.
3 p.m.
Track.
track and
Okay,
field.
that's what I wanted to know.
Sorry,
This
it's
is
me,
from-
that's all I talk about.
Well, we want our public to know
Yes,
as
and,
well.
yeah, and the boys have a great shot of winning. The girls have not quite as good a shot, but they still have a good team.
Still have a chance.
Right.
Still got a
Right
chance.
there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we just have a few too many injuries and sicknesses. The whole freaking girls team is sick right now. Stupid prom, super spreader event.
Also want to congratulate New Milford lacrosse coach Evan Cassells for being named SWC Coach of the Year. Also want to congratulate the teams and their team and coaches. They achieved a 13-3 record, and then they're on to the CIAC playoffs. So we wish them a lot of luck. Also want to thank the New Milford Grad Party Committee. As you see outside, again, we're doing the graduation banners on the lampposts. So thank you to them, and also all the sponsors that help pay for the banners that are on the lampposts. It's great to see the families come out and show support for their seniors and also the rest of the graduates that are there. Also want to congratulate Devin Looney, who was a New Milford High School alum. She's all-conference ECAC equestrian team. So congratulations to her for that as well.
Yeah,
Quick,
did a great job.
Yep. Also want to talk about events that are happening in New Milford. We're having lots of events. Last weekend we had a bunch of them. I'll just do the month of May and June real quick. On the 25th, this coming week, from 9 a.m. Is registration, and then at 10 a.m. they start the walk, which is the New Milford Walk to End Epilepsy. On May 30th, you're having the Town Green, which we talked about before. Memorial Day Parade starts here at 10 a.m. 8 a.m. starts in Gaylordsville. June 4th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the Town Green is the Milford Women's Club 25th Annual Teddy Bear Festival. That took a hiatus for a couple of years, but they're back, which is great.
Mayor, I think
That's
somebody
good.
forgot to put on there, at the end of the parade, on Memorial Day, is the 27th Annual Rotary Duck Race on Youngs Field, down in
Okay.
Housatonic. That's very important for our community.
Absolutely. I got a lot of ducks in there.
I know you do.
All right. Also, June 6th, from 10:40 to noon is registration, and at 12:30, the shotgun starts for the MVP SOS 11th Annual Bob Razor Memorial Golf Tournament. And if you can, help sponsor MVP SOS. They're a wonderful organization that helps those kids that can't afford sports or arts or a lot of different community activities, and they help sponsor those children that can't afford to do so. On June 12th, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Candlewolf Park, Pets in the Park. So if you have a nice dog and you want to have them come down to Candlewolf Park, check that out. June 12th, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. June 18th, from 4:30 to 7 p.m., Oddfellows does their roast beef dinner. From June 23rd at 6:30 p.m., Bank Street, they start the first Rock the Block concert. It'll be on I believe on Bank Street.
Yep.
And for those that went to the ones last year, we had tremendous crowds, and it was great. Had some great music, so thank you to Bank Street Investments for that. And again, July 1st is our New Milford fireworks celebration. And on the 1st and the 2nd, which is Friday and Saturday, the Lions Club is having their carnival, as they do each and every year, down at Youngs Field, and the
Great.
fireworks.
That's
Real
great.
quick on our projects, the Town Hall roof, for those that have seen it, they've done a phenomenal job. Just waiting on some additional wood trim that's currently on a back order for the shortage. Other than that, this job will be pretty much done. And if you get a chance when you go out to the back, the Red Barn, we were able, with the funds that we had, to actually do the roofing on the Red Barn too. So now that's all done. So we were able to get
nice.
that project continued. Concerning the library, the contractor continues to work on the oak rail caps, the fire alarm, the tile in the children's library, the bathroom door installations, and they're also placing new library shelving, which they've been doing. And I'll continue to update the council as we continue to move on with the project. The New Milford High School roof, the contractor completed the backside of the Cato roof. They're still doing rake trim installation. Canopy roof is getting ready for the standing seam, and I'll continue to update the council as we continue with the project. On the bridges, and Jack, you can correct me if I'm wrong on some of these, the Tamarack Bridge, the contractor didn't work this week, or was it last week?
Didn't work last week.
Right.
He was there this morning.
And this week, they're continuing with the backfilling on the bridge?
Yep.
Okay. Gaylord Bridge, the contractor continues to dewater the channel. That means moving the river, right, Jack, so they can do some more of the construction work?
Yep, and they're gonna have the bridge, the culvert brought over shortly, it's all set.
Excellent. And then the roads, the two major roads we're working on now is Squash Hollow, where they're continuing. They put first course of binder down. They did some of the shoulders of the roads as well, and Jack and his team are working on that, and the curbing. And the other road we're doing, Jack, which was the other road?
They're finishing up the drainage from Brentwood and Cobbler right now.
Okay, excellent. And that was a project that we had done last late fall, and now they're continuing to backfill that one. We're continuing to work DPW in finalizing the Wellsville Avenue design. And for those that remember, we were going to do that project last year, but we were able to get a grant, and within that grant, we were able to now do the sidewalks and do a full project there. And with the federal funding, we're going to be able to save approximately $1 million on this project, which we're able then to move on to do other road projects. And I know Jack will be before the council as we get more into that as well. We did some paving, as you can see on Wellsville anyway. They call it a skim coat because that road was pretty shot. So that should tide us over until next year. And I know Jack will be talking a little bit more as we talk about the, on this agenda that we have here on the, and we had our public hearing when it comes to Chernirsky Road and the weight limits that we're going to have on there as well. Also, Jack and his team met with WMC, which is the engineers, and the Connecticut DOT on the Mariel Bridge. That's another bridge that we're going to be working on, which will be another replacement in the year 23-24 budget. And talking about the sidewalks that are going to be going on the high school. Part of it is where Taco Bell is, and we have some at Pettibone, and then some are going to come down from Canterbury School down to the downtown. And right now we continue to work with Beta. Is it Beta that's our one? They're finishing up and finalizing their work, and I'll be able to notify the council as we continue moving on. And that's supposed to be for the spring of next year, Jack. That's when we're going to be looking to do that as well. Continue to work, Jack and his team, with Deep on Reservoir 4. That's the dam. And looking to get, I know they did some tree removal there as well, Jack, and we actually got the wheel to open the valve to get open, which is great. Also, the DPW team's been working on gravel erosion on Indian Trail, and also on Hine Road, we actually milled that and put that back to its scenic road condition, which is great news.
Good.
Next we have, excuse me, that's pretty much what I have for mayor's comments.
Thank you, Mayor. So we'll move to item 7, and I'd like to make a motion to approve the request from Parks and Recreation Laura Murphy. She's requested that Sunny Valley Lane, this is something we approved our last meeting, but the location has changed. So Sunny Valley Lane, which is at the end of Jerusalem Hill Road, from there to Sunny Valley Road up to Party Depot, be closed on Saturday, June 30th, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. for the New Milford Irish Road Bowling. The rain date will now be August 6th, 2022, and this is, of course, pending traffic authority approval.
Why is she?
And
So a lot of Irish friends, so
Councilman Cosgrove?
the date on here is wrong, like it was on the last one.
It
The
is?
request is actually for July 30th.
July 30th.
Oh, my
Yes.
gosh.
Yeah.
See, I don't have the backup, okay.
Right.
So amend what I said, Stephanie,
truck in Ashland.
that the road, Jerusalem Hill, Sunny Valley Road, Party Depot, be closed on Saturday, July 30th.
Correct,
Correct?
correct.
And Councilman Cosgrove, for those that may be watching on the news, and we have some councilmen here, what is Irish bowling?
So Irish Road Bowling is, so first of all, this event is partnering between Parks and Rec and the Ancient Order of Hibernians. And road bowling is a sport, an actual Irish sport. It's started in the 1600s, where you basically take a 28-ounce cannonball and you roll it down the road. And wherever it stops, that's where you do your next roll. And whoever gets through the 1 to 2 mile course in the fewest amount of rolls wins.
It's sort of
So it's very simple.
Funny how it
It's
ends
like
in an
golf
Irish
with
bar.
a 28-pound ball.
It does.
Does it? Is that a coincidence or what?
Wait, so where did the cannonballs come from?
So road bowling is extraordinarily popular in West Virginia. So we're ordering them from West Virginia, and we're just getting the plain ones. And the Ancient Order of Hibernians is actually taking care of that.
It's really
But,
easy to get hooked on this. It's a very popular
well, we
sport.
thought it happened. The
allow
first one I had
Lebanese?
ever heard of was in Hartford last year. I'd heard of it and said, "Why can't we do this in New Milford?" So.
How many bowlers are anticipated?
Well, typically there should be at least 2 to 4 bowlers per team. So this is a team event because you have one person rolling, someone else will kind of mark the area on the road where you aim at, and then somebody's got to watch where the ball goes, and somebody keeps score.
Who pours the drink?
Usually the bartender.
you know why it's popular.
And I have no idea how many to expect.
Are you limiting it?
At this point, no. I mean, at some
Still
point
keep
we might
buying
have
balls.
to, but I feel if we have 20 teams, it'll be a very successful event.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
And
And I've already heard that Waterwich Fire Company might have a team, DPW might have a team, Jack.
I think the town council might have a team.
Town council can have a
Sounds
team. That's
like
a
there's
really good
some
idea. So,
And
I
why
don't know,
does,
and I think Kramer and Anderson could probably field a really good team.
why
So,
was it changed?
So it was changed, honestly, initially we wanted to have kind of a little festival, have vendors, and so we wanted a park. Young's Field was great, but to make it authentic, you really need a mile. And the last one, we thought about starting on Railroad Street, and I thought, well, curbs and that will be fine. But then a local gentleman who's actually from Cork, where Cork, this is very popular in Cork, he heard we're doing it on Railroad Street, he's like, yeah, that's not a good idea. Probably not the safest place to do it. So we're doing it.
Have you done it yet?
I've never done it, no.
Oh, okay.
Nope. So, and it's meant to be on a country lane anyway, so
right, yeah.
we're on a real country lane, it's Sunny Valley Lane, so.
And you're gonna hang out at,
Great.
And then, yeah, so people, we will all meet and check people in at the Abbey Restaurant and Bar on Danbury Road there by Sunny Valley. And Roxbrook Farm is going to, we now have to transport people to the starting line, so they're gonna do a hayride.
Oh, cool.
Now,
And,
Chris, I have a question. Now that you have the whole community excited about this, where does one go to sign up? Do we go down to Danbury to the Hibernians, or?
So the AOH page for the Danbury chapter, I don't have the exact URL in my head, but if you Google
They're on Facebook,
Danbury AOH, they have a website. There's an events tab on their website, and then there
I
is
think
a
Mike's looking
page.
that up right now.
There is a page
Okay.
for the road bowling event.
And it's really very much, I've seen it, so it's fun.
You have seen? Okay, good.
Yes, yes.
So-
All right. Any other questions for Councilman Cosgrove on the Irish bowling?
So it's a count, we'll count.
Yes.
It's a steel ball, yes.
I got you.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Please film this. I
Any
got it.
abstentions?
How could we not be, right?
Okay.
Okay. So, item 8, like to move that we approve adding the new ordinance concerning the gross vehicle weight limitations.
And, thank you. And
this last meeting? Why is it back? No, you put it sent.
no,
No, we just had our.
we
just
approved
had
to
our
send it
hearing.
to a public
We know
hearing,
you
which we
think
had.
different than the Board of Ed, but this is council.
We're efficient, one time and it's over.
Maybe,
So we had the public hearing.
we had the
We had
public
the public
hearing
hearing this
tonight.
evening, so now we're coming back. So Randy, could you talk about what would be next for this?
The process, Joe, is that the ordinance is drafted in accordance with the auspices of the mayor and the director of Public Works, goes to town council reviews it. If it is something the town council wants acted upon, they send it to a public hearing, which was earlier tonight. After the public hearing, having heard no comment, the town council then passes upon whether they should adopt it or not.
I should show up for the public hearing.
Well, there was no public,
So,
So now what the town council does is approves it or does not approve it as a law of the town.
okay. Katie?
Okay, so I made the motion that we act on the gross vehicle weight limitation. Do we have a second?
A
I didn't
second
hear
from
it.
Councilman Esposito.
Okay.
Any discussion?
I just have one question because I wasn't at the last meeting, so I did listen to it, but I was just curious. It's calling for the limitation to be 16 tons, right? But what is it currently?
Jack? There isn't one.
So it could be any
Could be anything.
weight truck could come on there. Okay,
Correct.
thank you. That was
Welcome.
my only question.
But it was
Any other-
specific. You made sure that certain vehicles like plow trucks and oil trucks could go across it.
Fire
But not
trucks.
fire trucks and things like that, but not the tractor trailers that are running up and down the road like we have now.
Local only, local delivery type
Right.
of thing, emergencies, yeah.
So,
Very good, very good
any
one.
other further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Becomes law the 21st day after publication.
21st?
Right.
Okay. Item number 9.
Let your friends know they can drive there for a couple.
Item number 9, I'd like to make a motion for the standard demolition mediation funding, which totals $61,000. Funding will come from the unemployment compensation account number 104-142 100-52-600, and the amount of that which is the legal other, $40,061. We have two, this was written a little
Yep.
straight. And the remaining $21,000, and that's going to go to, excuse me, let me not forget the other one. That will go to account 104-13-900-53101. And from the DPW professional
To the DPW.
to DPW professional services account 104-301-00-53200, $21,000 will go there. So the total of 61 will become 40 and 21.
Any discussion? Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
Okay.
Thank you.
Mayor, update on economic development?
Sure. Thank you, Katie. This past month, met with our Economic Development Commission, and the commission is going to take on the undertaking of creating what they call a developer's guide, which is to help. You can take a look at the New London economic development page where they actually have their developer's guide, and what that is someone's interested in investing in New Milford, has all of the criteria. It's in one-stop shop place. Talks more about what we have to offer in New Milford, what land is available, what different statistics are, what kind of tax incentives not only that the town has, but that the state has. Talks about, how things are done here in New Milford, how the process is, like with view permit, and which ones you need to do first. Talks about Department Services team and how that works. So we're very excited. The Economic Development Commission will be working on that, and I'll be bringing updates to the council with that. Also, they're going to be working with SurveyMonkey, as we have that in New Milford, and they're also going to be doing some surveys to talk about how New Milford's current business climate is with the current business community that we have here in New Milford, and what we can and can't do better, and I'll be bringing those data points to the council. Also, we talked months ago about Kiva, and that's the funding platform for those that really are non-traditionally couldn't get credit. They're kind of the first rung in the ladder, and I'm proud to say that New Milford is now a trustee for that, which is very exciting. And we're working with the Economic Development Corporation, and we'll be beginning to really push that out publicly about how to use Kiva, and that's especially for those businesses that may just start out. And I've given the council kind of the scenario before. You have somebody that maybe been working for a plumbing company, and now they want to go out on their own. They need to buy the tools, the truck, the whole startup with that, and they really don't have much credit or resources available. So a lot of the commercial lenders or small business banks, community banks won't lend to somebody without a track record. Well, this is the first rung to help you get that. There's a lot of sponsors from Walmart to all sorts of Fortune 500 companies that help sponsor this. And also, you have to crowdsource through families and friends some of the initial investment yourself with this. It's a great opportunity for us to be the first in Connecticut to do this, and also to be able to use the platform. And as they were saying, the bulk of their investment goes to women and minority-owned businesses. So this is a great opportunity for New Milford. Also, the business grants through ARPA funding have been going very well. I believe we've got 17 or 18 so far now, right?
Something like that.
Which is amazing. Facade improvement grants, thank you to the Economic Development Corporation. The newest one was Cafe 1840, and we're continuing to get more applications as we speak for facade improvement grant that not only helps the downtown, but the entire community with some better looking facades, which is great. Also, the Economic Development Corporation is continuing to push out that they have the availability for micro loans. So that's the ability for small people, if you need some small machinery or just starting out, the opportunity to fill out an application through the Economic Development Corporation. Also, I spoke with our building inspector, and his name, as we all know, is Bill Murphy. And last week, we did 61 new applications, 66 inspections were done, and they issued 62 permits. They continue to see strong growth. Spoke to Laura Regan, our zoning enforcement officer, and our town planner, and they still see strong growth as we're working, so that's great news there. Also, just a quick side note, new business, which is the Vintage T-shirt and sneaker shop that's right next to Play. Johanna's Restaurant is looking to put their catering hall, which is going to be in the back of Johanna's. There's going to be about 60 to 65 people, so we're excited about that. Also, the Women's Business Development Council is offering grants up to $10,000 to qualified women-owned small businesses in Connecticut. The Equity Match Grant Program, as they call it, is to help women-owned businesses grow. And those grants also can be between $2,500 and $10,000. The grant funds cannot be used towards operating expenses, which is inventory, marketing, but it can go for capital improvements. Applications required provide a 25% match, and the grant applications opened actually today. You can go on the New Milford Economic Development Facebook page, and you can download more information from that. Also, they have a grant supporting the Small Business Administration, Hispanic entrepreneurs in partnership actually with the Progressive Commercial Insurance. And you can also go to the New Milford Economic Facebook page and download the application from there. And that's up to, they can provide up to $25,000 for grants for that. Also, the Connecticut Department of Labor, they've launched Reemploy Connecticut. That's a modernized tax and benefit system. If you're an employer who's liable for unemployment taxes, the new system basically can change how you file with the Department of Labor. And you can also sign up for email updates on Reemploy CT. And the new system that they have is for employers. The new technology has more options to improve online access. Additionally, reimbursable employers will be billed quarterly instead of monthly and will now make payments online, thereby reducing paperwork and filing time. If you would like any more information, you can go to the Connecticut Department of Labor website, and right there is the redeploy icon. You can click on that, and it can take you for more information. And that's what I have, Katie, as far as economic development.
That's great. Item 10B, I'd like to move that we set a public hearing date for the 2022 Connecticut Neighborhood Assistance Act program applications for June the 13th, 2022 at 6:50 p.m.
Do I have a second? Second. And for the council's edification, this is something that we do each and every year. And we usually have one applicant for this. And again, part of this availability for the funds is to do a public hearing. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Item 10C, which we added, and this is a motion I'd like to make to set the date for the public hearing on June 13th for an ordinance change regarding migration of all newly hired non-union employees as of July 1st, 2022, to move to a 401A plan. This was brought up, this was mentioned to be done today, but it was left off the agenda.
What time is the 13th?
6:45.
I'm sorry. We have one at 6:30, so 6:50, so we say 6:45?
There we go.
How's that? June 13th at 6:45.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And item 11 is an update from our Finance Director, Greg
So
Ospal.
Greg could not make it tonight, but he wanted me to iterate a couple things to our council. First is our tax receipts are very robust, and he felt very satisfied for that. We had a very good tax sale this past
Yeah.
week, which was very successful. According to Nancy McGavick, I believe we were able to get about $1.4 million in our tax receipts, our tax sale, and we'll have more information at our next council meeting when it's concerning that. He did want to bring to the attention, as he did the last time, the police dispatch overtime is over the number, but he does have additional funding within his budget to compensate for that. Plus, he's also getting grant monies from distracted driving, and I believe from the seatbelt ones that he'll be able to apply as well. But he wanted to make sure that the council was aware of that overage. And that's pretty much what I have for the finance.
Oh, well, he gives us more than that.
I'm sorry.
Motion to adjourn?
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everybody.
Why, thank you.
Have a good night.
And thank you.
Sleeping? You sleeping, Sal?
I need to put that